Hiya and welcome back to part 2. I have filling these all in one day, but what I didn't want to do, I didn't want to have a video that was 25 minutes long covering 3 or 4 different subjects and everybody bamboozled by the end. So 3 or 4 minutes is probably long enough to cover what's needed to be covered. Now part 2, we're going to focus on inbreeding. Now inbreeding is my speciality. It's what I like the best. It's how I conduct my breeding and have done for coming up to 40 years. Inbreeding, what is inbreeding? Inbreeding is the pairing of relatives that are very closely bred. So i.e. mother, son, father, daughter, brother, sister, half brother to half sister. Now, the matings I like best are the half brothers to half sisters, and usually I prefer my half brother half sister matings to have came from father daughter matings and mother son matings. Now a lot of people will be now gasping, and in some realms of the world the thought of mating your brother and sisters together would be deemed anti-Christ or whatever. But anyway, that's life, and don't care if you like it or not, but inbreeding works. But to inbreed correctly, you must select specimens that have the desired traits that you want, that are also healthy, with as least amount of defective genetic material within them. So here the genotype does play a part, because inbreeding, although if used correctly, is a very good way of improving any form of livestock, and has been shown to be the case for many generations in every type of form of livestock I've ever been involved with. So what to do and how to do line breeding, but more importantly inbreeding successfully. So we've gathered what the difference is. The difference is that line breeding is relatives that are not closely related, i.e. cousins. Inbreeding is the use of parents where the parents will be very closely related, i.e. half brother and sister. So although mother and son and father and daughter work very fine, there's nothing wrong with that. I've had great success with these parents. I've had parents where I have mated the son back to the mother, then the best son from that parent, i.e. the grandson, that's been mated back to the mother again. And I've done this on 3 or 4 occasions over 3 or 4 generations, where the mother is also the grandmother and the great grandmother, and somewhere along the line probably being the half sister as well. My line of birds, as a lot of people know, are built around the Queen of Spades. The Queen of Spades was a blue check hen that I bred, mated to a black cockbird that I got from Bob O'Brien in California, in Simi Valley, and that pairing produced the Queen of Spades. And at the time when I bred her back in 1998, she was a leap forward in the quality of my birds and the type of birds I was breeding. She pretty much was a stepping stone. So every cockbird that I had, every son that she ever produced, was all mated back to her. Birds that came from that line that are very famous in some parts of the world would be 025, 701, my all red ball cock, my 2 times European champion red cock, my reserve champion twice black cock, birds that never have been beaten, that showed traits that I was fixing into the standard of my birds. So how do you go about it, and what do you need to keep an eye out for? So obviously if you are going to do inbreeding, you need to have pairs that are as healthy as vigorous, as fertile and as active as possible. These are keys that you need to look out for, because the biggest problem with inbreeding, which is what confuses people, although inbreeding is a very good tool for fixing the traits in the birds that we require, that we want to see, and we want to see more of them. So big round roses, big cup shells, big rappy shells, low wide bodies, big boots, all the key traits. It will also inevitably bring all the undesirable traits: split roses, split shells, poor feather quality, infertility, low egg production, crooked toes, bumblefoot, shufflers. Shufflers maybe I'd never link them to muffs, but still, you double up on them traits. Even though the birds might visually have them traits, they will pop out. But used correctly, inbreeding can also be a very good tool for eradicating them undesirable traits from your birds. So what you could do is, I'm going to turn around now, the sun's at my back and it's blistering in. So by selecting pairs that are very closely bred, half brothers and sisters, that carry all the traits in the phenotype, so we can see visually, and they have other traits that are recessive that came along with the genotype. So these would be the parents that I would be mating and using them heavily in my breeding program. Would be half brothers and sisters, fathers and daughters, mothers and sons. They're the ones that would give me the youngsters that resemble the parents. Just manoeuvring through this water. We've got a lot of rain on the go here with the snow, it's all melted all over. So by using these parents, we can, by using these parents, we can narrow down the gene pool, double up on the good traits and eliminate the bad traits. Downsides of excessive inbreeding, I found that twice it has happened, but the biggest problem is infertility. You will struggle after 3 or 4 generations. The infertility will drop, and also the vigour. The birds become a lot slower, a lot docile, and the females tend to lay less eggs. So you will find the better birds that you see photos of or videos of on the internet, and you think, wow, that's a fantastic bird. There's no doubt that that good show-winning bird will have been produced from inbreeding. He will produce very few offspring, and them that do produce tend to be kept back. That's not a outcrossed families and line-bred families. There tend to produce a lot more youngsters, so you will be able to get birds readily from them families. But that's not to say that you can't pick up birds from a very inbred family and use it to your advantage. Now, what I have found is, and this works very well for racing pigeons, is 2 inbred families crossed together. That's when the dynamite goes off. And if you have families within your stud that you've been breeding for generation upon generation, where they might share a similar starting point, similar background, but if you've been used differently but ran side by side, then when you cross them 2 families together, them 2 inbred families together, that's when we usually see a jump forward in the genetic, and definitely a jump forward in the phenotype, the quality of the birds. Because all this we're doing for quality, we're not doing for anything else. It's not a thing you do for colour, it's a thing you do for quality. So inbreeding you would do to fix good points and eradicate bad points. And I hope that sorted part 2 out. Part 3 I've already just slightly focused on will be outcrossing. When to outcross and how to outcross. Until then, I'll see you later, and bye.